Many people, including me, had a dream of playing college football, but for one reason or another, that dream was never realized. And as time passes, you'll always wonder, what if I did play college football? Well, there are a select few individuals who waited way past their primes to go for this dream. And not only that, but they succeeded. This video is dedicated to the oldest college football players ever. I want to thank SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. So it's almost the end of the NFL regular season. It's the perfect time to go see a game, and SeatGeek is an app that puts tickets from all over the web in one area, making buying simple. They rate these deals on a scale of 1 to 100, with the higher the number, the better the deal. Plus, if you use my promo code KTO at checkout, you can get $20 off your first purchase. Come on, you don't want to lose out on cheap tickets. Number 1. In 2008, Bob Scambri was a business owner who never went to college. He joined the military at 17 and then started a family. But now, at the age of 51, he decided that he wanted to go back to school at Westminster College. He also decided that it was a chance to fulfill a dream. That dream was to play college football. He went to the head coach to see if he could get a tryout, which he said yes. Then Bob Scambri made the team.
I just put it on, I sat there and looked at myself, and I'm like, I'm playing college football. I couldn't believe it.
He would wear number 51, which also represented his age. The 51-year-old man was the perfect inspiration for teammates. If this dude is working harder than you during practice, what are you doing? Plus, on top of making the team, he struggled through injuries. He had tendonitis in his ankles and a degenerative disc in his back. He even asked the athletic trainer how his geriatric medicine skills were.
Bob's our biggest inspiration on the team. Like going through two-a-days, going through everything that we've gone through, you know, by God, if Bob can do it, we're going to be out there.
So Bob had a sort of Rudy moment. He didn't play much all year, but when he finally got his shot, he made a tackle on his very first play. Most of the information on him is limited, but I'm sure that this is his channel. Below one of his videos, he posted this comment. He was thanking the program and stated, quote, "You only got one chance. The one who works the hardest gets to play. Believe me, if I could do it, you can excel like a wild man." Talk about an inspiration. Number 2. On November 14th, 2009, Austin College was going to play against Trinity. Austin College scored their first touchdown in the second quarter, but the extra point was a much bigger deal. That's because the man who made that kick, Tom Thompson, the 61-year-old kicker, hadn't played in an organized football game in over 40 years. So here's what happened. When he was 59, him and a co-author were writing a book about the importance of fitness throughout your life. He got the idea of playing college football. After finding out he was eligible, he trained himself to kick field goals again, then made the team. This would be his only kick, but this did not make him the oldest to ever play in a college football game. Number 3.
Good morning, I'm Alan Moore, a 61-year-old kicker. I'm actually 63 now, as 2 years have passed by, and I'm trying to reach out, for this purpose of being here, is to reach out to all of the 32 NFL teams.
Out of high school, Alan Moore went overseas to fight in the Vietnam War. Once he got back, he got a job and then lived his life. Many years would go by, and while sitting at a football game in his later years, as a former kicker out of high school, he was chatting with a friend. That's when the thought came up, maybe I could play college football. This is crazy because it wasn't even a dream of his. He really never cared to play before, but all of a sudden, he wanted to prove that he could do it. So a few years before this, he had been laid off from work, and then he had more spare time on his hands. So he bought himself some cleats and a football, and began kicking field goals. His daughter said that, quote, "It took him a couple weeks to even get the ball off the ground, but the dude practiced every day and got much better over 2 years. He tried out at Faulkner University, an NAIA school, as a backup kicker, and at the age of 61, he made the team. It's kind of weird to think that these kids were probably learning about the Vietnam War in history class, and then they would go out to practice and play with an actual Vietnam War veteran. Anyways, during a game, his team was already up big in the second quarter, and that's when they sent him out on the field to kick a field goal. The Vietnam veteran and grandfather to 5 nailed the kick. This officially made him the oldest player to ever play in a college football game. Number 4. In 1969, Mike Flint was the heart and soul of the Sul Ross State football team. By 1970, he was the team's captain and led the team in tackles. Gearing up for a big senior year in 1971, everything went drastically different. Mike would get into a fight on the school's campus, which would end up getting him expelled. Many decades went by, and Mike moved on. From a life of gold mining and oil wells, then becoming a strength coach at some pretty big schools, it's safe to say that he was in pretty solid shape. So one day, sitting with some buddies drinking a beer and telling old football stories, Mike Flint brought up how his biggest regret was getting kicked off his college football team, and how he wishes he could do something about it. Imagine his friends jokingly saying, "What if you tried to go back and play right now?" Well, that's exactly what he did.
Welcome back. Straight up, this is one of my favorite stories ever. My guest is a linebacker for Division III Sul Ross State. After playing 2 seasons back in 1969 and 1970, he is now back at age 59. Mike Flint is my guest.
His former coach told him that he was an idiot and could cripple himself and never recover. Mike didn't care. He just wanted to play some football. He became such a big story that he had his own fan section called the Sul Ross Baby Boomers. What's insane is he actually played. He was on special teams as an end blocker for field goals. He was even part of a game-winning kick. To put what this guy did in perspective, a player who would be a junior right now would have to wait until 2054 to play his senior year. Number 5. Imagine playing in the NFL while your dad is playing college football. So far, all these stories were about guys who played Division III or NAIA level football. This last guy played Division I. Joe Thomas Sr. in high school was an absolute monster, but due to a speech impediment, he didn't have the confidence to go play college football. But years down the road, he had a construction business that had gone downhill, and he was looking to revitalize his life by going back to school and getting an education. Coincidentally, that's when his son was gearing up to play college ball at South Carolina State. When his son got to school, he asked to speak to the head coach. The coach was expecting the meeting of a concerned parent, but was shocked to find out that the kid's father wanted to walk onto the team. This would have been one of the coolest father-son stories ever, but unfortunately, this never happened. Joe Thomas Sr. would get into a pretty serious car wreck where he tore his MCL and ACL and also messed up his sciatic nerve in his leg. Although this stopped him from playing with his son, it didn't stop him from bouncing back and making the team after he left. After recovering, he spent the 2015 season as a member of the scout team, and by 2016, he was a backup running back on the actual roster. This is just ludicrous to think about. People's bodies at the age of 55 don't recover that well. And after all the damage to his leg, he was now a full-time member of a Division I football team. 2016 was his senior year. He had gone to school previous while recovering from his injuries. And after deciding to try and play college football, he waited almost 4 years to get into a game. Senior day was his day. He got into the game in the first quarter and fulfilled his dream. Sure, he didn't light up scoreboards or anything, but his perseverance spoke louder than anything. This dude had the ability to play Division I football at the age of 55. Imagine how good he could have been if he played when he was 21.